Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mildly Competitive Podcast. Had a little bit of a hiatus. Had some, real life happen, so we were unable to record for a little while, but we're back. We have mostly everyone. Apparently Danny decided to have dinner with his parents. Ooh.
He's
But
the
the
little
rest of us are
birthday
here.
boy.
Little birthday boy.
Birthdays.
So we've got, as you may have heard, Casey, myself, Eric, DJ, Dyson, and Trenton.
What's up, nerds?
What's
How's everyone doing?
What's up?
So we have a lot to cover from the past couple weeks that we've missed, so we're going to just kind of jump right into it. Firstly, we want to talk about some recap. We've gone to a number of cups. We had someone here went over to Pittsburgh. He has a pretty interesting story to tell. We'll go over just some of our highlights, how he did or may not have done very well. After that, we'll go over some of the new spoilers, so some really interesting cards I wanted to talk about. And then finally, kind of our play for Sacramento. We plan on going out, so we want to get an idea with 151 legal what decks maybe may appear or we might try. Start off with some recaps. We did just last weekend, as of this recording, had the E4 Cup, which was a ton of fun. We had 21 people for Masters, and I think 5 for juniors and seniors. 2, 3, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And had a little bit of a snafu. We weren't able to do a top 8 cut because Tom is a piece of software that's awesome and doesn't have issues. So we weren't able to do top 8. We did have a top 4, and a number of people here were in that top 4, which is exciting. I myself scrubbed out at 2-2. I probably could have played it for 3-2 if we were doing top 8, but unfortunately, luck wasn't on my side. I was playing Miraidon, and it felt really good, except when you draw 8 energy in a row, even. It didn't feel great then, and best of 1 doesn't really allow for variance recovery like most formats, so wasn't great. Kind of end runner there. The other game I lost, I believe I made a mistake in how I sequenced an attack, if I'm trying to remember correctly, but I know that I ended up losing it against one of our local players. Yes, that's right. He needed the boss. I needed a boss, and 3 of my bossing cards were prized, so I wasn't able to capitalize on that.
That's brutal.
Thanks, Brody. Yeah, and then that's kind of all I've had past couple weekends. Been busy with other things. Went to Disneyland, super fun. But we do have some other folks. DJ, how has your event recaps been?
I have 2 back-to-back weekends. Last weekend went to card shop in Troutdale. It was a 39-person cup out there in the Portland market. I went 4-2, getting 9th place, bubbling at a top 8.
Oh, the worst.
Yeah, I played Dyson's list of his take on Lost Tina. Dropped a game to Miraidon and Arceus, Umbreon, Giratina. Tough losses. Both games, just the deck. Couldn't find the exact pieces at the right time, so needed Giratina V-Star both games, but it seemed like all 3 were at the bottom half of the deck, so after Colress and selecting and not seeing it, wasn't able to get the turn 2 start Requiem to get ahead in price trades. And then this weekend, I played Gardevoir Charizard, or I guess Kirlia, delayed Charizard.
Correct.
Yeah,
Charizard
there's no
is what I'm
Gardevoir.
calling it.
Yeah,
Calling it what?
Correct Charizard.
correct Charizard. Yeah, it felt like it. I went 5-0 in Swiss.
Number 1, baby.
Yeah, it was kind of, the last match I definitely played against Brody. He was 3-1 with 10 points. It was a good matchup, but high HP against Lost Fox was just challenging for him to get the win. And I was kind of in a position where, me winning that unlocked 2 more spots at top 4 for fellow teammates. So I'm kind of glad I did win that matchup. As far as the rest of my matchups, I played against Lugia round 1, and it was, with the low damage starting out, it was just boss chasing Lumineon and Squawk ability. Once they finally got a KO on Charizard, it started threatening the rest of their attackers. Um, did play against a Mew player.
Do you have anything tagged from you?
Charizard EX.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rather than dark
Yeah.
type.
Yeah, the deck.
Yeah. It got to a point where I had Collapse Stadium, my Charizard EX that got 300 damage on it from triple power tablet turn. And after that, he just looked at his cards and scooped.
Oof.
Other matchups, I played a mirror match. Again, Collapse Stadium was the tech card that was able to knock off. It was a 2-shot matchup, so being able to knock off the Charizard. Also, in the matchups that are mirror matches, I had 2 mirror matches in my source round. You never want to get to odd prizes, so you don't want to take 5, because then you put yourself in a position where your opponent's
Then they can
Charizard
one-shot
goes.
you.
Yeah, and they can finish their 2 prize cards. Ended up playing. He was playing the Pidgeot variant. No Arceus Star. He had Umbreon VMAX's tech for extra bosses, and playing the V 4 Stone. That's his V-Star power. And then I did play against another Charizard variant that was a Lost Zone draw engine. I thought it was going to be more the Lost Zone partners, but it looked like it was just maybe 1 or 2 Cramorants. Comfy's Colruses. And I'm pretty sure he played a 4/4 Charizard line, because I was under the impression maybe 3/3, and I chased the Charmander earlier opposed to killing the Cramorant, and he ended up having 2 additional Charmanders throughout the game. It's like, okay, he plays a 4/4 line, so...
I played against the same player. He was on 4/4, and I think he only had the Cramorants for the Lost Zone attackers. I think he had 1 Sableye, but I actually no, I don't think he had Sableye. It was just the Zard with Comfy's a Cramorant and Colrus.
Right. And yeah, it played him in Swiss, and then I ended up having to play him in top 4. Ended up getting game 1. He mismanaged energy resources, not being able to string his final Charizard to keep up. Game 2, I had to discard some resources early to get into the game, which came on, later in the game, not having enough fires to attack. And then game 3, really tight matchup, but I was able to play Palpad to get back 2 bosses orders to set up the 2-shot on his Charizard EX. It was that scenario where he had all single prize, 2-2 prize cards, both players having single prize cards. And I needed to 2-shot his Charizard to take the game, opposed to if I took a 1 prize, then his Charizard was 1-shot. So I was able to string along the bosses and had a Buddy Catch Gallade in stock, so he didn't have a way to either hand disrupt or Roxanne me. And in that game, yeah, that was my run. In finals, I was paired up against Trent. We decided to split. And he got the points, the 10 extra points, so didn't get to see a finals.
Made us wait for our reservations because we expected to go longer. We put our reservations at 7:45, and you guys are done at like 6. Okay, all right, well, gonna sit around for a while before we get our delicious food. So let's go with Dyson.
Yeah, so last week I also went to the Troutdale tournament. Went 4-0-2 playing Lostina. Top 8. I had some deckless shenanigans.
Oh.
Forgot to write Iono instead of a boss in my list. I got a ground 1 game loss and replaced it for an extra energy. And the energy came in clutch. Came in pretty clutch, actually. My top 8, I played against Sablezard. Just went Greninja hunting after lost zoning his Manaphy. And that was a pretty easy match. Got that one 2-0. round top 4, I played against Charizard, Arceus Pidgeot, which is kind of like an auto win for Tina, if I'm being honest. Got that one 2-0. And then I played against an interesting list of Turbo Box that didn't play the Dragonite, played the Pidgeot V, and Potown Store. And he played the Snorlax version, and it just went down to the wire. I Roxanned him into the boss's orders he needed to take his last 2 prizes on my Tina V. And I took second at that one. So that was my second place. Cup performance. At E4, I went 3-2, playing the same Tina list with a couple tweaks. I'm like almost certain on this Tina list, like 2 or 3 cards that I need to fit in there. But I went 3-2, lost to Charizard, Umbreon, which was a pretty interesting list. As I was taking knockouts on his Charizards or Pidgeots, he just always had the Alakazam moving damage to fix his math to knock out my Tina. And it was hard to come back from that one. Round 3 or 4. I think it was round 4. I played against Lugia, prized my Super Rod, and 2 Grass Energy.
Ooh.
So that was hard. That was a hard one to pull out. Couldn't come back from that one. And I did have a crazy Sableye play on round 2. My round 2 opponent. He was playing Guardy with double Zacian. I had already killed his first Zacian with a Cramorant, and he loaded up his Cresselia in the beginning, did 60 damage to my Tina, and he had enough energy, I think it was 4 energy, to kill my Tina V, bossed it up, and I had a Sableye up. I did 120 on his baby Gardevoir on the bench, and he just kept storm slashing, and I got Iono'd into Colress, Mirage Gate, and 2 other dud cards. And I Colress'd for Sableye, Hawlucha, and Escape Rope. And he already had a 70 HP Ralts on the bench. I Hawlucha'd his damaged Zacian and Ralts. And I put up Sableye, lost Mind, killed his baby Guardy, his Ralts, and his Zacian to take 4 prizes for the game.
Ooh.
It was pretty hyped play.
Yeah. Like, it was exact damage, too. I was watching that. That was insane.
Spicy.
Sableye is just...
No lost city for injury.
Sadly, no. But yeah, Tina, almost set on the Tina list. Like 97%.
I also played at E4 this past weekend. I had built I wasn't sure what to play. I'd been on Guardy for a bit, but I was getting kind of bored of it, and I wanted to try something else. Personally, I wasn't a huge fan of Charizard. I kind of thought it was a bit of a meme, and like I hate Pidgeot, and I felt like a lot of people were like trying to hype it up and make it more than what it really is. And so I did play it a weekend or so back. I thought it was like there was interesting lines there, but I just did not like the Pidgeot stuff. So I had recently found a list on Twitter that had the Curlias. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna throw this week. It's fine. I'm gonna try something. So I put together the Curlia Zard list, and it felt pretty good. Round 1, I went up against Trenton and Dream crushed him. It was pretty funny. Then round 2, I went against it was a Mew deck. Yeah, it was so funny. It was a Mew deck. So then I just played Charizard because it kills everything. And then round 3 was Miraidon, which it's actually a little bit scary because they can at least get 1 Raichu knockout. because they can power up for 6 and do a smack, and that guarantee KO something. But they can only really do it once. And so after he knocked out, I had another one set up ready and just popped him. Then my 4th round was against the same Lost Zard player, who was also in top 4, and I actually lost that one due to energy mismanagement. I had a damaged Zard, a Radiant Charizard, and I was evolving a different Zard, and I had super rotted to get energy back into the deck, but I had rotted 2 fire energy and a Zard into the deck, and I should have just put in 3 energy, because then it would have given me enough energy to retreat my active Radiant into my damaged, or my non-damaged Charizard I just played, to then force him to have an answer to the active Zard to knockout. Unfortunately, I did not do that, and I lost that round. So I ended up 3-1. And then the last round was against Guardy, who it was a pretty easy matchup. They had actually just decided to scoop it. Pretty chill dude. He was, I think, like 2-1-1 or something, 2-0-1 or something. Like he was not in contention because it was a top 4 cut. So he just decided scoop it, give me the best shot with 4-1, and that was actually enough to get, I think it was second. Going into it was second going into the
Third.
Swiss, and then second going into Swiss, and then top cut. I went against Trenton again and died. Brutal first hand. I had like the optimal setup. I could have had 3 Charmanders, a Manaphy, and a Mew in play, or a route. So but unfortunately, I had prized my 3rd Charmander because I was only doing a 3/3 line. So I only could get 2 down. They both got sniped by turn 2 Sableye, and that was it. And then game 2, it was a little bit closer, but I think you were able to establish a bit faster than I was able to do anything, and then it was pretty much over. So I think I ended 3rd overall for the weekend. But the list felt pretty good. I'm currently considering it for future events, maybe doing some tweaks. I wanted to check out DJ's build and see what the differences were, because there weren't a ton of them, and there's a couple of cards I definitely could cut. But man, Arvin's so good. Power padding Arvin and buddy catching into him, and just like, it felt so good. I love Arvin. But yeah, so decent weekend. Ended up 3rd, pretty good, especially because I had not played the deck before. Built it the night of, tried it out, and did me pretty good.
That buddy catch
It's been so good.
Like
it's so much better than Pidgeot. Like, Pidgeot basically searches for the same pieces that buddy catch does, but you're not susceptible to path. It feels so good.
And it's a 1-prizer.
It's a 1-prizer. You can get Worker, which means you beat out the paths. You can get Arvin, which helps you cycle. Like, it just does so much work.
In the middle stage.
You're not having to have rare candy with Pidgey into Pidgeot. You're able to just routes Curlia, Gallade. And sometimes rare candying a routes into a Gallade was like super worth it.
Did your list play the reversal?
No. Reversal and Jet Energy were 2 that I wasn't playing. But I didn't have much room. I was pretty greedy in my trainer lineup due to just like really narrowing in on the buddy catch.
And that leaves Trenton. You've got quite the stories to tell us.
I'll start off with the E4 Cup.
Okay.
Round 1, I played against Casey, and that one was pretty good. I missed turn 2 Sableye.
Yep.
That match I was 1 card off. I think I just was missing the Sableye, which was kind of unfortunate because I just
you were
milled it
missing the
off
Sableye because I
Pokestop.
think you could have hit 10.
Yeah, I could have hit 10.
Mhm.
I had the Mirage Gate as well, so I just needed the Sableye, and I'd milled it off my Pokestop, so that was kind of unfortunate. And he got that one. Round 2, I played against a mirror match, which was really, really close. But because he had the Snorlax, where I couldn't damage it with my Sableye. So he basically just kept Snorlax attacking. But then at the end of the game, he had, because like the Snorlax puts itself to sleep So he would also have to use the switch every single turn. So by the end of the game, he had used every single one of his switch while also flipping double tails. So yeah, he couldn't really do anything about that, and I was able just to keep Sableye to win. And then round 3, can't actually remember what I played against round 3. But round 4 or 5 it was. I played against the Zard Umbreon Pidgeot, and that one was pretty brutal for him. So he didn't play the Manaphy in his list. So I just got the turn 2 Greninja, sniped both his Charmanders, and then after that I just went into my Sableye, and every time he got a new Charmander out, I'd just kill it. So the matchup wasn't terrible. And then I guess once we got to top 4, in game 1, I was able to get the turn 2 Sableye this time, kill both his Charmanders, and then he was never able to establish a Charizard that game. And then game 2 was a lot closer because he was able to get out his Charizard. He went first. So I wasn't able to kill his Charmanders before he got out a Charizard. And what I did that game was I think I used Cramorant turn 1 to kill his Mew. And then I was at 5, and then he came back in with his Charizard, knocked down my Cramorant, and I did 250 with my Dragonite V, and he couldn't get the response KO.
I missed the
he only hit me for 210
ban on that one, or the choice belt.
Yeah. So then I was just able to Sableye for the rest of the game and close that one out. That's the one thing that I think the Pidgeot build does better is it's able to get those other random pieces you need. For example, with the Pidgeot build, I would have been much more scared of a return KO on my Dragonite, because he could have just searched out the choice belt.
Or I could have buddy catch for Arvin to get the belt. But I think I had to that's ditch the belt early on in order to get the Charizard into play. So I really need just a second tool. To help facilitate that.
Yep.
Defiance Band might actually not be bad in there.
And then in the finals, I was about to play against another Zard, and DJ did not want to play, so. But it is what it is. Cup win feels pretty good, especially at the home store.
Yeah, we defended 3 of us in the top 4. I think 4 of us would have been in the top 8. Showing that
Brody would have definitely been in the top 8.
Yeah, well, I'm in the NC crew. Yeah, Brody would have been. So a lot of the top 8 would have been the home store, which is great. It means we're not a bunch of pushovers.
Yeah, Dyson probably would have been in top 8. Eric might have played it out.
Yep, so, I totally would have.
But it was a mishap with Tom. It is what it is. Did either of you guys, Dyson, did you end up making top 8? And if so, did you get?
No, I got
10th.
That?
You got 10th. Right. So I just want to know if the points were still calculated and given away for that, even though there was no.
Yeah, we didn't play the top 8, but we were. It's possible they would still point out top 8. We weren't super clear.
Yeah. And then I also went to a cup with Dyson on Tuesday last week. That one was over in Springfield. Pretty cool store. That one was. I was playing the same list. Dyson was also playing pretty similar list. And we both ended up making top 8, and then losing in top 8 as well. I hit unfavorable matchup in top 8. I hit Lugia, who I had beaten previously in Swiss. So it's kind of funny. My past 2, the previous 2 cups I had I beat somebody in Swiss and then lost to them in top cut, and then finally in E4 I got the reverse of it.
Yeah,
so,
you lost in Swiss but beat them in top cut.
Yeah, I guess that's just the way to go.
Better to be lucky than good.
But then I guess that leads me into Pittsburgh. So we got in pretty late on Friday night. I think we actually got in on Saturday morning, technically.
We being you
Me and Daniel.
Daniel, yeah.
And then we got in, and we had there was we went to the hotel. Check-in was supposed to end at I think it was 1 or 2. But when we got there was a signpost on the door that said they were ending it at 9. So we were pretty worried about that. But we were able to call and get it all worked out. And then we got into our room and we were like, oh, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. I was like, Daniel was like, I'm just gonna try to sleep. I was like, nah, I don't know about that.
What made it not great? What made it not great?
Well, it, for starters, it did not smell great. It was probably like 10-15 degrees above what it was outside. It was really humid. The bed
There wasn't like cigarette burns or anything in the beds.
on the
were
bed
there?
sheets? Oh, no, of course not.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, there definitely was. It was bad.
What?
So I was like, all right, I'm not doing this. Daniel was like, yeah, this is pretty bad. So we went over to Planet Fitness and then we worked out.
For 12 hours.
At that point, because we were planning to get up at I think it was 6 and then get over to the venue by 7. So we were really only at Planet Fitness for 4 or 5 hours.
Only.
I mean, we got showers there and stuff, so it like wasn't
That's
terrible,
good.
but it was just like the no sleep.
Did you leave your stuff in the hotel room?
No, we left it at Planet Fitness in the lockers.
Nice.
Yeah. So then at the event, it started out pretty well for me. I started out I lost round 1. Pretty unfortunate. It was against Lugia. Pretty bad matchup he set up. He got turn 2 Archeops both games. Game 1, I remember that one. That one was so brutal. I needed just an escape rope to force up his lone Lugia V on the bench to be able to take a knockout. And I used quad Comfey, Colress, and Pokestop, and I whiffed the escape rope. So that was just pretty unfortunate. And then he was able to set up the next turn, and there wasn't much I could do about that. But the rest of the matches were pretty clean all the way up till 5-1. Also, round 6, when I was 4-1, that one was against the Lost Box Mirror. The guy had gone to Worlds the previous year. It was a really, really close match. I think in game 3 it came down to him being 10 damage away from Lost Mine double KO, because he had 10 on one of my Comfeys. So it was really close. I was able to find the switch card to heal off my other Comfey. So that one was really, really close. And then after that, the fatigue started to kick in. Had not had any caffeine or anything, so I was like, the next round I was just like so tired. At one point during one of the games, I was using my Force Heal Stone, and I had to ask my opponent what I was in the middle of doing, because I just
Oh man.
I just like completely blanked out, and I was like, what's going on again? It was bad. And that one was against Lugia too, and he got turn 2 Archeops both games. I think no, that wasn't the one I threw. That one it is what it is. The next round though, when I was 5-2, I think we went to a game 3, I believe. It was against another Lugia, of course.
So much Lugia.
Yeah, I know. And then I ended up I think I misplaced the damage. I needed I had just like completely miscounted the damage, and I needed like 10 more on one of his Archeops instead of on his Tyranitar. So I ended up losing that game in game 3. It was brutal. I think I ended up throwing that game. It was pretty unfortunate. So I lost that one. I was 5-3. I was out of contention. So I just showed up to my next round, asked my opponent if he wanted to ID. He said no, let's play it out. So I was like, all right, you got it, man. And then I left. I needed some sleep. Turns out he was playing Lugia as well.
Man.
I checked after.
Oh my
So I don't know. For me, at least, like, playing against Lugia is almost as unfun as playing Lugia. It's because, like, you're just watching, like, the same thing happen every time.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I don't think any of my opponents missed turn 2 Archeops in any of the games. So, I mean, there's not much that can be done about that. But I ended up getting 20 points after not sleeping the night before. I don't think that's terrible.
Nice.
So, sitting at close to
Nice.
200 points now on the season. Almost 1/3 of the invite. Catching up to Dyson.
Yeah, what's the point count, guys? What do you guys have?
I think I'm at
I'm
195.
at 208.
Just one more top 8 at a cup, and I've caught up to him.
I'm not super high up yet. I just plan on winning a regional.
Yeah.
I'm currently at 54.
54.
That's more than I thought.
DJ, you're at 60 or 70 something.
I think I'm at 40. I haven't topped.
Well, you got
Sorry.
40 from the cup, didn't?
Yeah.
I feel like you placed in a challenge too earlier this season, right?
No, I think the challenge I got close. I played against Dyson to play it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Dyson got the point.
I'm only at 15.
That
You were the
That tracks.
Just
That
the
you
one cup
were-
win. Yeah, just
I guess.
Yeah, you won the one event, but I think you haven't topped out since.
No, I guess not. How do you have 50? No, what's your play points? Not what's your championship points, not play points.
I have 50 championship points. 54.
Ah, rigged.
So I got 4 at a league. I got second at a league, and then I got third at a league.
The other.
So I got
the cups. I missed that other.
I've
cup.
top 4'd two challenges, and I top 4'd a cup.
Yeah, that's right. I missed that other one. All right. Yeah, that was a lot to recap, but a lot happened in a couple weeks where we were missing, including the release of a bunch of cards. So there's a number of them I wanted to kind of point out to talk about to get some impressions. One of the more recent ones that I think is extremely interesting is coming out in the Ancient Roar and or Future Flash sets in Japan, which we're getting that set in November. They're getting it in October. And they're introducing the Ancient and Future traits, kind of like the battle style stuff, which, I mean, it's not a big deal. It is what it is, but it does cause them to create probably more powerful cards than they normally would. For instance, there's the Iron Hands EX, is the big hype right now. 230 HP, basic, future type. For double lightning and the colorless, it does 160. But the big attack that's like slots right into Miraidon is going to be its lightning and then 3 colorless, does 120. And if your opponent's active is knocked out from damage from this attack, you take an additional prize card. So it's basically ADP, if you don't think about it too hard. But this also helped bring in the matchups for like Gardevoir, becomes a lot more interesting, where you can start taking 2 prizes on their Gardevoir knockbacks, or even just taking out the Ralts and Curlias. Same thing against Lost Box. It gets those Cramorants to be much more dangerous to leave in play, or even the Sableye or Comfeys. It just turns a lot into the extra prize you need. And then even against EX decks like Lugia, you're doing 240. That's locking out a Lugia in one shot, taking 3 prizes. So it seems like a really, really solid card that slots right into Miraidon, and I'm pretty excited.
And if you have the item on it,
I was going to get to that.
does plus 20 and flow stuff.
Yeah, so there's a new tool for the like future past paradox stuff, where this one is the future Pokemon this card's attached to has no retreat cost, and the attacks you do 20 more damage to active. So it does 140, which is 280, which one-shots Lugia V-Stars,
And
which
Pidgeot.
means 4 prizes.
What's pretty sick
Or
too
I guess
is
just
you
3.
could also
Pick.
run a Pawniard, Rare Canyon, and a King
No!
Gambit,
Stop it.
and that lets you do 20 more damage on top of
30.
that, or 30 more damage on top of that.
Interesting.
We're not putting King Gambit into every deck.
I think we're putting King Gambit into every deck.
But yeah, I think that card has... there are people who think this card is like too good or too powerful. The damage being 120 and needing 4 energy to attack with it definitely is a limiting factor. Of course, you'll get the lucky electric generator plus Flaffy just to get the energy up right away. But I think it's more of a 1 of to 2 of in a deck versus like you're building a
What's the
Iron Hands
HP on
EX
the guy?
deck and winning the game because you built it. 230. So it goes to 280.
Do you think
with,
we're right on this? We'll
Brave
add a
Recharge.
DTE
But
deck?
you're nah. I think it's easy enough
No.
to set up.
Yeah. No, it's not hard.
The real spice is running it with Raxcalibur and just tacking in some lightning energies, because you can also
Or
run the
even
new
Luminous.
bucket. That you Loomis,
Well, no,
or you have the
it has to
new
be
Professor's
basic
Letter.
lightning with the letter.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another
So
new
the
card.
letter, you can like Chen Pao tutor up, discard one of the waters to go grab a water and an electric, power up use the rain dance for the waters, put down the electric, and then you're ready to start attacking.
Yeah, that's another new item card. That discard a card and then you search for 2 basic energies, put them in your hand, shuffle.
Yeah. And another thing to note, the bravery charm adding to the damage isn't super relevant because you're probably having the other item on it.
True.
Or other tool.
That's true. But it is more of a stonks on Arvin going up,
Yeah.
getting that utility. Because in that same like kind of glut of cards we also saw Professor Turo's Scenario, which is basically AZ, which is super interesting in this format because there's a lot of like, I wish I could just pick this up and just kind of never see it in play again.
Well, now Gardevoir has a play, right? No, he can pick up stage 2, right?
Yeah.
True.
He can pick up Shiny Arcana and like evolve into the Rolls and Curly.
Or pick up like a
True.
damaged EX.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of move
It
things
discards the attached
Which
cards,
is
right?
fine
Correct.
for Gardevoir.
which is fine in Guardian.
Yeah, I was about to say that's like perfect because it lets you ditch the energy out.
Is this a Pokemon or a trainer?
It's a
It's
supporter.
a trainer.
Oh, okay.
And Gardevoir's like, you don't really care that much about supporters, so you can run some utility. And you ran Penny for the longest time.
Right.
This is just less restrictive Penny.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting closer and closer to a Gallade meta.
Oh yeah. That also came with a couple other new cards, which we again won't be seeing until November, but they are the technical machines, which seem to be pretty good. We have the 2 good ones so far are De-Evolution and Evolution.
Aren't those,
De-Evolution,
are those the only ones revealed so far?
no, we've got 2 other ones, which are okay.
I haven't seen those.
Energize and Blindside. I'll get to those in a second
Alright.
because there's a couple other cards that came with that. So, De-Evolution, Evolution. If you remember Ancient Technical Machine back from like Hidden Legends, it's that card. So it's 1 colorless. You de-evolve all of your opponent's evolved Pokemon into their hand as an attack. Like that seems incredibly interesting for this format where there's so many stage 1 and stage 2 decks. Like resetting Gardevoir plays, resetting Charizards, like resetting V-Stars, resetting Vs. Like, it seems really good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when in a deck like Lost Box, where if you can spread out a bunch of damage counters and then boom on your Cramorant, because Cramorant makes these free if you have 4 or more in the prize in the Lost Zone, you get to just de-evolve their team and then boom, you have a bunch of prizes potentially.
I mean, you can also just attach an energy to Comfey and use it too.
Also that. And then Evolution is kind of what it sounds like. Single colorless, choose up to 2 of your bench Pokemon, search your deck for a card that evolves from each of those, and put them on them. Interesting card because it doesn't have to be a Pokemon that's already been in play or you haven't played that turn. So you can kind of skip the rare candy clause or the first turn
Yeah.
it's been in play clause.
Like, imagine
So it's like a
attaching
shake
that
boost?
to your double shake boost, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, imagine going after you, like, finish your turn with Gardevoir attaching that to your Mew and just like using that.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah, that is also another super interesting card, which I think makes interesting choices with other, like the evolution card definitely helps with a lot of the stage 1 or stage 2 decks that aren't quite good enough. I could definitely see it in Shen Pao as a potential include.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of guarantee, you don't always have to rely on the rare candy.
Because you're not turn 1 attacking otherwise.
Correct. And you're always getting energy, so you can kind of afford to play a single energy, get your 2 dudes evolved. So, super interesting. The other ones that we saw are for the Cyclizar, or like Raging Surf, I believe is what it's called. That one's not going to be for Japan in September, so likely not. Oh no, it already released. It releases in like a week in Japan, and then we'll likely get this in our November set. So there's a couple of interesting cards. The other 2 technical machines, Energize is for single colorless, search your deck for 2 basic energies, attach them to your bench Pokemon anyway. We've seen effects like this already, but being able to give it to a Pokemon that has a better attack than just this could make it playable, especially in a... I could see this also in Lost Box, funny enough, with Cramorant loading up if you miss a Mirage Gate. It's almost like a faux Arceus.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, and it goes to anything. So this could also be super interesting in Miraidon. I could see it. Shen Pao maybe, but you kind of want to search them out into your hand, but this lets you play them. Again, just a more interesting card to try to tool around with.
When do we do rotation?
We don't know.
We don't know yet.
We don't know? Okay.
Don't have the number.
Because, like, part of me feels like a lot of these cards are cool, but will still just, like, be more cute than good.
Potentially. The other Techno Machine, Blindside, seems like it's got a lot of actual utility, or, like, actually can be played in Lost Box.
Is that the 100 to 1?
Yeah, 100 to 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember seeing that one now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can just attach it to Cramorant, and then it's like a snipe.
Unfortunately, like Manaphy's kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's a little risky, but
And we're getting Jirachi, which will
that
make,
doesn't prevent Jirachi.
that doesn't prevent damage.
Yeah.
It prevents
I
damage.
know.
Counters.
I was saying, in addition, we are also
Yeah.
getting Jirachi, which hurts the Sableye.
I don't know, though. I feel like using up
I don't-
2 bench spots for Manaphy and Jirachi just...
Yeah, but then what do? Like, you just start Dragonite punching?
Probably.
But then that's, like, your only
Or you
line.
just, like, boss Cramorant there. Jirachi and Manaphy's.
There's play, but it definitely trips you up a little bit.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's also tripping up the opponent, too, so...
Canceling Cologne.
That too. Boss canceling clone.
Yeah, boss up
staple.
Manaphy, canceling Cologne, and then Greninja both of them.
There you go. So yeah, that's where I think that one can be playable, but yeah, Manaphy's, you still have to deal with that card's everywhere. Well, no, it is. It is kind of everywhere. There are decks that can just afford to not play it though, like
Yeah.
Charizard. There's another tool in that same, with those 2 release, Gorgeous Mantle. If it's attached to a Pokemon that does not have a rule box, you get plus 100 HP. And then if it's knocked out, your opponent takes 1 more prize.
So it's like the old expert belt.
Yeah, exactly. So that one, I could
Interesting.
see it in like Gardevoir potentially, but you kind of already hit the big numbers anyways, so it's a little.
Yeah, but if you put it on, like, Drifloom or Loud Noise,
Yeah.
like, it feels good.
True, it gives you some extra attackers outside of just Gardevoir.
Yeah.
But do you need anything more than just Gardevoir? Maybe.
Yeah. Especially after Gardevoir rotates.
Mm-hmm. So those are some of the new ones coming out in the future in November, but we do have 151 coming out in just this week, actually, as of recording, this Friday. And this set will be legal for Sacramento. So there are a couple of cards in here, literally a couple, that are definitely going to see a lot of play, and then a couple other ones that might. But this is going to impact Sacramento quite a bit. Namely, the big one being Mew EX. For those that may not know, it's a basic EX, 180 HP, psychic type. It has the ability restart. During your turn, you may draw until you have 3 in your hand. And then for triple colorless, it does a choose one of your opponent's actives attacks and use it as this attack. This card's seeing a ton of play in Japan in a lot of decks, as well as probably going to see a lot of play here. The big pull on this is that just you get to do an attack and you don't need the energy requirement for it. This one I've seen a lot in Charizard decks in Japan, but I've not seen it a lot. I haven't seen the other decks this fits into. Has anyone else seen?
We're talking about Mew, yeah.
Yeah, Mew EX.
The Lugia, it fits really well into Lugia.
Like to play in Lugia against other decks.
Yeah, because then mostly for the it gives you access to Greninja Snipe.
Right, that was it. Yeah, you get to use their Greninja
Yeah,
against them.
which
Which
is huge in Lugia because now it forces your opponent to have to bench Manaphy against Lugia if they see the Mew, and you can even set it up in one turn. So
Interesting.
Yeah, because you just do DT.
Yeah, because Charizard also sets it up in a single turn.
yeah,
I mean, it could also go into Lost Box, use Mirage Gate, and then
Yeah, but-
attach.
It's a lot of resources.
yeah. And Lost Box, I don't think it's as good because yeah, it is a lot of resources, and I mean, there's a couple attacks that'd be nice to copy, but there's not all that much.
I think the big ones are probably going to be Greninja,
Yeah,
so you can get the bench snipes without having to run your own Greninja
yeah.
instead.
So yeah, I feel like it's not as good in decks that already play Greninja and can attack with it
Right.
at least. But
Just kind of better against decks that don't have it.
yeah,
It's the attack is the active Pokemon's
Yeah.
deck.
Correct.
Okay.
So bossing up something. So yeah, that one, and then the other one is funny enough a basic Charmander, only because it has 70 HP, which is huge for that deck. Being able to not get double knocked out from a Sableye, like that seems like it's gonna change that deck quite a bit.
It also, it's something interesting with the Charmander. It has a single fire attack that just ditches a stadium, so it is your out to. It's bad, but it is an out to path
True.
if you're like really struggling.
Right, that's why people liked Pidgeot. You attach a
Mhm.
DTE, and knock off the stadium.
Exactly. Yeah, so that is going to help the Charizard deck quite a bit.
And we get a
as
second-
Some may also run the new Charizard EX too, that just does 330 for 4.
Yeah, as that's an option.
yeah. You can.
Yeah,
watch-
mirror,
There's something else.
yeah, mirror matches. That's insane. We don't have to
Yeah.
sit there.
It's just a one-shot card, right?
Yeah, except
It's a
Tyranitar.
one-shot, yeah.
Tyranitar EX lives.
There's I kind of like the Jinx, but I don't think she's very good.
Not really.
What's it do?
It's the one where it's, I think, 1-2 colorless. If your opponent's active is asleep, knock it out.
Yeah.
And then for triple water does 120, and they're now asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are like evolutions go to sleep.
Yeah.
So like, especially because we're getting AZ, we can't like. You could come up with a couple like 2 or 3
Evolution.
knockouts.
Yeah, evolution loops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of the cards in the set.
Well, there's also a Ditto. It's interesting
Mm-hmm.
where you can
Oh, right,
swap
that
it
Ditto.
for a different basic when it's in your active. Or I
True.
think you
That-
discard it and then
I thought
search
I
for
thought
it.
you just. Yeah, let's see, because it's once during your first turn.
Oh, it's during
your first turn.
turn.
If it's your active, you may search your deck, choose a basic, except Ditto.
Yeah.
If you do, you put it in all the cards attached.
I mean, it's just like an
its
extra
place.
compe or something, or extra, yeah. Or
I have
extra
seen this
meal.
pop up in a number of decks in Japan. So it's either a Mew, it's kind of whatever starter you need.
Yeah.
But it is one of those first turn has to be active, so it's a bit iffy.
Seems like a hassle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you miss a turn one. It's like a dead card in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
That's not broken. Pass.
Another one is the Alakazam EX.
Yeah.
We have it's the double psychic for 120, and you can use it from your bench. An attack I don't think we've seen before in Pokemon,
Nope.
so it's really hard to evaluate how good that is.
You guys
'Cause,
want to
like,
know
if
what
you
I?
can s-
You guys want to know what I thought when I saw that card? I thought
It's
about.
not going to work on PTCG Live.
No, well, yeah, that I just definitely see it. I thought a core balance, the core balance card.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
a max card.
Oh, but we're just tons of players. I feel like we're gonna just see
The bunch of Mimikyus
in the
and
queue, but
Clefties.
I wonder, does it work, apply weakness and resistance? I guess it would, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, does it?
It's a stage 2, though.
No, it is a stage 2. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I mean, like, does it count its typing or does it count the active typing?
No,
I think it's
yeah.
itself.
It has to be
yeah,
itself.
it's whatever's attacking. I don't think it's necessarily whatever's active. Pretty soon we're gonna start seeing cards that attack from the bench and snipe to your opponent's bench.
bench on bench combat.
It's gonna be a snipe war.
It'd be so funny.
Just set up a wall in the active and then just
Yeah.
start attacking from the back lines.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that also gives outs to control decks too, right? Like,
Yeah,
Almost
standard
like blocks.
control
yeah,
probably gonna be some kind of thing. It might fit in there, it might not. I don't think he wants to take knockouts. It's the
Yeah, I
tricky
feel like
part.
the current retreat lock one is probably just better.
Mm-hmm. A couple other random cards I saw that have maybe potential. Erica's Invitation. It's a supporter, so that's what makes it a little bit iffy. You look at their hand, you get a basic, and put it on their bench. And then if you put something on the bench, you make it their active.
Yeah, you can, right? Pretty
Yes.
yeah.
If you put it onto the bench this way, switch it. No.
Oh, okay.
You can put some. No, it's all mandatory.
Well,
Yeah, you put something down and make it active.
Hmm.
So, could punish those players still running like a Luminion or things like that,
yeah.
or a Squawk ability they're trying to hold on to, or some kind of like piece that they want to keep safe. Probably gonna be really good in the Sander control list to try to
Oh yeah.
mess them up with the retreat stuff, but I don't think this is gonna be in every deck.
I mean, I can see it in like the mid game when people are holding their V's, like extra copies of V's that like
Mhm.
they don't want to bench down the instant boss sniped. But it's going to be hard to predict when to use it, right? Hard knowledge is huge, so
Yeah, seeing their hand is important, or like not knowledge of their hand is underrated a lot of times, but it's tricky in this game where it can change so fast.
Yeah. But you can definitely
Especially
map
with
it
lost
if they like
box.
Ultra Ball or something and put some into their hand earlier.
Another interesting one, not necessarily good, but interesting. Giovanni's Charisma, another supporter. You put an energy from your opponent's active into their hand, and then you get to put an energy from your hand onto your active.
I'd say there's a
It
niche card that's very situational, like against like the Arceus players that went 1st.
Mhm.
You're able to just fully put them back a turn to where they like, do I V star next turn or Trinity Nova and threaten my V get knocked out.
Couple other random things, some Arven Stonk cards. You've got Big Air Balloon. If it's a stage 2 Pokemon, has no retreat cost. There's
Wow.
got to be some deck this is good in. Like, no retreat's always usually pretty good, but in terms of stage 2 decks, Gardevoir doesn't want this
Probably
because they
Charizard.
want to detach it. Charizard, yeah. Similar to a card we had in the past is Cycling Road. It's a stadium. During your turn, discard a basic energy, draw a card. I feel like there was something similar to this in the past. This is one I think has potential, maybe.
It's just discard any energy card.
A basic energy.
Yeah, so it's sort of like a nerfed, like Scorched Earth, but Scorched Earth was like
Yeah.
specific energy.
Correct. Yeah, so those are some interesting cards that could potentially affect Sacramento choices. I feel like I'm pretty locked in with what I want to play, as long as I can find my deck, of Miraidon. I've been really enjoying where it's at with the Flaffy engine. It feels like it's got a much better matchup against a number of the decks in the field, especially getting some one-shots on Charizards with the Raichu. Feeling really solid with that deck, despite my poor performance at our Cup. That's just because Best of One is a format that people like for some reason, and it is pushed. But that deck feels solid. I think I'm going to probably stick with that one going into Sacramento. In terms of cards that are adding to it, probably not going to add much. Mew's interesting. Probably not gonna run it. Other than that, I think I'm pretty set on my 60.
I mean, Flappy does go to anything, right?
It does. So in theory, Mew,
Yeah.
but that feels a bit. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll have to play with that. I'll have to test it.
Okay, I'm thinking I'm probably gonna do something with Charizard. It's been interesting. I kind of like the big dumb, you can't like, dude play style. It's either that or Guardian. I'd rather not go to time for 12 rounds.
The trick is you win game 1 and then stall game 2.
Yeah, I know what the trick is. I know how to tort it up. But I would rather finish all 3 games or all 2 if I'm playing well. So I think it's gonna be Charizard. I'm not sold on my 60 yet. I'm gonna probably talk with DJ a bit and see kind of what the consensus comes to. If all else fails, I'd probably shift to Lost Tina, but I don't know how Lost Tina does in a best of 3 format. So I think those are the 2 ducks on my radar right now.
Yeah, following that, I'm at like 80% set on Charizard. Same choices, Lost Tina or Charizard. Um, just from my mental capacity, like playing 9 rounds, I'd rather just play a 330 giant lizard and just like deal with it. Yeah, we'll get the 70 HP. Casey made a good point. I mean, there also is the
I
100
made the
HP.
point, but that's fine.
Did you, Eric?
I sure did.
I made the point of the energy discard. Sorry, the stadium discard is what I meant to.
That was still me.
That was you?
Yeah. No, that was me. I talked
My
about
bad.
the stadium discard. Oh, you're right. That was you.
Yeah. That I wanted to clarify. Yeah, the stadium discard effect. I did not read that on that card. I just saw 7 HP and said, "Cool." Oh, illustration rare. Sleeve it up.
It's not as
And
good as
yeah,
the Pidgey in the window, but it's still pretty good.
yeah, it is. I agree. And then 70 or 100 HP Charmeleon. I'm like thinking about that.
I'd rather the 90 so you can level ball it.
Right. That's level ball. But I like 9 out of 10 times. For Charmeleon's sake, I would always get a Curlia or another Ralts piece or another Charmander. I never search the Charmeleon, so that's where I'm like,
That's the tricky part is you'll never need to until the one time you do, and you're like, I really wish I had the 90 HP.
correct. So I mean, yeah, I think its numbers are protect. There's also some merit to Greninja's numbers, because I played this
True.
weekend without playing a Manaphy. I just didn't respect Greninja this weekend, but I went for everything on the Pokemon lineup, just as consistent as possible without having to search cards. So it's part of my play for Lost Tina. I do have a really talented brother that's been working on the list, and so if he finds something, that I'll just copy paste. So
Pretty
That's
cool.
probably gonna be my play. It's Lost Tina. It's the deck I've been most comfortable with. The deck I probably play the best.
No way, you're playing Lost Tina? I
Yeah.
never would have guessed.
Unbelievable.
I'm predicting that there's gonna be. It's probably gonna be the top deck, and so I know how to beat that mirror match pretty well. And yeah, I feel comfortable with it. I'm at like 58, 57 cards. Couple
Gotta
more
find the
tweaks.
mirror breaker.
Well,
I think in Dyson's case, I think you should test against a lot of Lugia. Just V-Guard in general. Just get that matchup figured out.
guess that leaves me. I'm definitely playing Lugia.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm kidding. Honestly, I don't know what I'll play. Like, I could play literally anything at this point. I've played a lot of Lost Box. I could pivot back to Mew. I could see myself playing Lugia. Probably not, but I could see myself doing it. Like, I'm up for anything at this point, honestly. Just have
I
to
could see
test.
you. I could see you playing Lugia with the new Mew. Like, I think having that access to
Yeah,
unique plays, I could see you
yeah.
enjoying that.
I mean, whatever you're
But-
playing, you're buying a new deck to fix the crinkle in your cards.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would let you borrow my Lugia deck, but I like that they're flat.
Oh, that makes sense.
I'm joking. You can borrow if you want. Unless I play it.
Yeah.
I
I don't really want to play Lugia though. But I'm just leaving myself open.
Yeah, just you'll say you'll play Last Box, and then you'll switch to Gardevoir, and then you end up playing Mew.
Yeah.
That's about how it goes.
Exactly. Yep.
Definitely final advice to all you folks is just play what you're comfortable with. Like the hype wave always goes up and down on lists before these regionals, and so definitely just play what you're used to, and typically you'll see yourself getting points. Right. Trenton went 30 hours without sleep and was able to get 20 points out of his performance because he did know some of the deck before he got exhausted.
Just don't think about the dollar per point factor there.
Yeah, I don't.
I did.
Mine actually isn't terrible. Daniel's is well.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
All right, take us home.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening to another episode of Mildly Competitive. If you have any comments, questions, want to give us any feedback, please let us know in any comment section you find where you're listening. Don't forget, if you're listening on YouTube, like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up or a favorite or whatever it is on Spotify. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Later, everyone.
Feels good to be back. Later, nerds.
Whoa.